Hello, welcome back. This is Jeff Byers, and this is part 3 of UV mapping, and we've got the table completely finished. So in this video, we're going to finish up the chair, and it shouldn't take long at all because you basically know how to do it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the chair all in one UV tile, okay? Since we're now, one of the things you got to think about, and again, it depends on the materials of the chair. Let's say that the material of the chair is more than one type of material. So let's say, or a different color. Let's say we have wood planks, wood on this part, and then we have black on for these accent pieces. So if that's the case, if it's not made out of one material, then you'll have to separate each material in its own UV UDEM tile. That's why we use UDEM tiles. It allows us to separate the materials out and use them in a Substance Painter instead of having to go and mask everything in Substance Painter, which I think is a pain sometimes. So, or use color IDs or that type of thing to separate and mask these out as separate materials if we use one UDEM tile or a standard UV. But we're going to use a standard UV for the chair because it's going to be one solid object. It's not going to have accents. If you want it to have accent materials, then you'll have to separate each material. So that means that if you have type of material that would be gold and then silver, and then you'd have to have these tiles separated out to the materials that you're going to use. So if I wanted to have all wood in this UDEM tile, then I would have to all the pieces in the UVs in here, and then the second UDEM tile could be like just black, or maybe a different colored wood, or whatever you want it to be would have to be in this UDEM tile. So anyway, we're going to have one standard UDEM tile for this to make it easy and quick. So we're going to click on the object. Again, make sure that you have center pivoted the combined object if it needs to be combined, like the chair. And then you want to delete by type history and then freeze transformations before you start this process. Okay, so we're going to go to UV, and we're going to go back to automatic, and we've already got it set the way we want it, so just click on it. Okay, and we've got tons of these pieces all over the place, so I'm going to go click on UV shell and move this out. Now, depending on which direction these are facing, says since this is going to be a wood, it's going to be the same wood that I have on the table. I'm going to use the same type of wood to keep it all cohesive, right? So I need to make sure that the wood is facing the right direction for the wood grain, okay? So the wood grain is going to be going up and down, side to side. So I need to make sure the wood grain is going across this way to give it the strongest. And then the wood grain is going to be going up and down here. So there's quite a few things we need to fix on this to make it look like it's going to be doing the correct grain. So if the grain is going to be going up and down, most of our stuff is going up and down, so I need to move these around. So I'm going to click on one of these and just rotate it. Okay, we know how to rotate, so I'm going to go ahead and rotate it. Okay, and rotate this one. There we go. And we need to rotate this too. So if the wood grain is flowing this way, up and down, we need to make sure everything's flowing the appropriate way. Okay, so to make sure that it's as strong as it can be. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and rotate these guys. All right, this too as well. And so I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way, like that. And we're going to go ahead and rotate this. rotate that. And I'm just going to continue rotate. Whoops. Get that back to where we had it, and then rotate this one right here. There we go. All right, what else do we have here? Let me, a lot of times if I'm going to UV shell, I can also click on the UV shell here. You can see the UV shells that I have already. Okay, so this is part of the UV shell, so I'm going to go ahead and rotate those guys. There we go. Let's rotate it around like that. Placing those up there. And then we've got this guy right here, which need to be going up and down, which they are. So those are all good. The direction for the wood, these pieces here, those all need to be rotated. So I'm going to go ahead and rotate all these things at the same time. Let's get this rotated and this rotated. Looks like I've got those all selected. So I'm going to rotate those. Okay, good. All right, getting these all set up. And this has been rotated, and this has been rotated. And we're going to let Maya do the packing for us. Since this is a pretty intricate piece, I just want to make sure all the pieces are rotated the right way first, and then let Maya pack it again. See if Maya will pack it properly. And if it doesn't, I can always go back, Control-Z back. Now Maya likes to pack really, really tight. You can see how tightly these are packed. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go and lay out the UVs this way. I'm going to go to in here, I think it's under modify. We can go down to, I think, yeah, layout, and we're going to click on this guy right here. And the place that I want to look at here is the shell padding. I'm going to, instead of 0, which means they're almost on top of each other, I'm going to type in something like 10. And then tile padding, I'm going to type in 10. That means that it will not, no matter what happens, will go outside of that area. Texture map size, we want to be 4096. And that really is arbitrary. It doesn't really matter. If you left it at 1024, it doesn't matter. I would, if you remember to set that up, to set it to 4096. Okay. And keep it at uniform scale if we can. And let's go ahead and lay out UVs, see what it does. Oh, excuse me, I had one thing selected I shouldn't have. Let's go ahead and select all of them and go ahead and do that again. So UV layout, I think it's going to keep what we had before. Yep, and layout UVs. There we go. And let's hope it remembered which direction we had those UVs. Now you can see that there's not much space between them, and it's hard to tell. But they are rotated the right way. But I'm still not happy with how they're so close together. So I'm going to add a little more distance and see how it looks. Control-Z. It's not terrible, and it will work, but let's go to modify, and let's go and do 20, and whoops, not 210, 20, and 20 on that. There we go. And then 20 and 20, that's good. And then layout UVs. Okay, let's take a look at what we have here. Okay, that looks much better. Nice spacing. The only thing that it messed with was these guys here, which we can rotate back. Okay, let's go ahead and rotate those back. There we go. And let's try to pop them back in here. Okay. Again, it's nice to have them separated a little bit because we can just kind of move those around. All right, that looks good. And zoom out. Let's go ahead and click on texture borders and just kind of check everything out. Okay, so everything is flowing the right way. The only thing maybe are these two maybe not flowing the right way. And we have room maybe. Okay, so we can move things around. So let me rotate those and move those kind of where I would like to have them. There we go. And then I'm going to take these guys and move these down because this is called an intersection. You cannot intersect UVs into each other. It will give you an error trying to get them into Substance Painter. Okay, that looks great. So not a whole lot, and it seemed like a pretty complex object, and this should go into Substance Painter pretty good, and I think we'll be okay. Again, I'm making sure that I'm in object mode. Okay, so we need to make sure we're in object mode, and that is completely done. Okay, all right. So we only need to bring one chair in Substance Painter, because then when we bring it back into Maya, we can add the texture and then duplicate it around again. So I'm basically going to go ahead until that happens. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. So I don't confuse anything. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go ahead and select all these. And add it to a layer and turn them off. Okay, so now we've got the object, we got the chair, and now we're going to go ahead and get into the rest of the objects and lay out the UVs for those in the next video.